Welcome or welcome back. My name is Tab and I love to talk about books. In today's reading vlog, I am going to be reading I'm going to be reading 4 or 5 Kindle Unlimited romances. Now, I have maxed out my Kindle Unlimited. I have 20 holds on there and I never seem to read them. So I am making it a point to go through at least 4 and read them so I can start requesting more books. So I have my Kindle here. And the first book I am planning on picking up is a very, I feel, popular one. It's In Good Company by Kat Singleton. This is the first book in the Pembroke Hills series. I do know this is an age gap billionaire romance. It is, oh boy, it's an ex-brothers private chef forced proximity. So I cannot wait to read this. This is everything that I want. It says Callahan Hastings is relentless when it comes to getting what he wants. And what he wants is me, to be his private chef in the Hamptons for the summer. My dream job served to me on a silver platter by one of the wealthiest members of Pembroke Hills Country Club. The only catch, he's my ex-boyfriend's older brother with a reputation for being as charming as he is cunning. But Cal doesn't take no for an answer. He draws you in with flirty smiles and extravagant promises. I should have seen him coming, but I didn't. I should have stayed away, but I couldn't. His playful touches and burning gaze have ignited a fire in me. The more I resist him, the more irresistible he becomes. I've always known there is an expiration date on the job, an expiration date on us, but leaving isn't going to be easy with Cal on his knees begging me to stay. At the time that I am filming this, it has a 4.10 rating on Goodreads and it has 4,297 ratings. I want to read this one, and I know this is relatively new. It came out April 3rd, 2025. I want to read this one so bad. It has 386 pages, and I can't wait. I will be back to update either when I'm about halfway through, or if I just can't help myself and I read this straight through, I will be back to update with my review. Good morning. I ended up finishing In Good Company by Kat Singleton. I decided to rate it 3 stars, and it was definitely 4 on my spicy scale. So before I get into what I thought of the book, I'm going to give you a rundown on all the spicy chapters. Just bear with me. Chapter 22, 27, 28, 29, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 42, 45, 46. So if you love spice, now it starts at chapter 22, so it's like halfway into the book, so it's not like right out of the beginning, it's just like overkill. But from chapter 35 to 39, every one of those chapters is either 2 to 3 spice. I usually will upload on books that are super spicy a like companion short or like little type of reel that has the outline chapters, so you can just click on my Instagram or my TikTok or check the short section in YouTube, and it will already be uploaded by the time this video is posted. Okay, so back to my review. So this is an age gap, ex-boyfriend's brother, billionaire romance. Callahan Hastings is the male main character. He is the CEO of his family's company. His father left it to him, so he is a billionaire. And this is all around like Pembroke Hills Country Club. And the series, this is the first book in the Pembroke Hills series, and it is a country club based in the Hamptons in New York. And this is over the summer. The female main character, Lucy, is a chef. A private chef. She's been cooking for functions, and sorry, the sunlight is just like blazing in, which is nice because it has been rainy for the past like 4 days. So I'm like trying to soak this all in. So she is a private chef, and the male main character, Cal, is a billionaire who loves cream colored shirts. This guy, every description of him, he is wearing a cream colored shirt, a cream colored knit shirt. He loves cream. And another thing, I love how all like billionaire swoony guys, they all are described as smelling the same. Like bergamot and sandalwood. I don't even know what bergamot is, if I'm even saying that right. It sounds like it's like a type of wine. I don't know, but this is probably the fifth or sixth romance novel that I've read that they have described the male main character as smelling of bergamot and sandalwood. I know what sandalwood smells like. It's a very masculine scent, but I don't know, like, I need to get my hand on bergamot to see exactly what these guys are smelling like. Cal is very swoony. He's protective. He wants to take care of his girl, and he knows it's just for the summer. Lucy has familial responsibilities. She can only stay in the Hamptons being a private chef for Cal for the summer. She has made that clear. She has brought it up numerous times, and he somehow, of course, like everyone else, thinks that they can change the other person. It's going to end up being okay. And he, of course, falls head over heels. Now, that's not to say Lucy doesn't either, but Lucy knows she needs to go back. She has responsibilities back home. She promised her family that she would be back home at the end of the summer. Okay, so Callahan's best friend is Jude, and he's also in this book. And it's so funny to see Callahan and Jude together. Like, males, I'm not going to say in general, in this book are such single-minded creatures. They hear anything that could remotely be twisted or turned into something perverted, and they are all over it. They cannot like have a regular conversation without their mind short circuiting and going to someplace that it just doesn't need to go to. Just very lusty. And going back to like Jude and whatnot, the side characters are very great. I like all of the side characters. Lucy definitely has some found family in here. I want to say her name's Charlotte. That's Lucy's best friend who worked at the country club restaurant inside the country club. So they were best friends. But Lucy, that was really the only person that she hung out with. So this book really has a ton of found family. Lucy and Charlotte get integrated with like Callahan's friends. And Callahan is also only in the Hamptons at his summer house for the summer. He primarily lives in Manhattan, and his plan was to go back to Manhattan once the summer was finished. But in his mind, he thought that Lucy was just going to be able to drop everything and go and be with him. For the side characters, it's nice because you kind of get a taste of what the following characters in the series are going to be about, and they all seem extremely likable. But spoiler alert, I was hoping that the second book was going to be about Jude and Charlotte, even though they're not like romantically involved in the first book, A Girl Can Dream, but it's not. It is about, I forgot who they were. It's about one of the married couples. So I'm not sure if it's just like telling their story about how they met, or if it's just, it must be, because I don't understand like why we would need to follow a married couple unless it's like a marriage in trouble. I'm not sure, but that's usually a little bit, I feel like that would be a different take. Usually when the first book sets up for characters, everyone's still kind of dating and then you see their story progress to marriage. But I believe these two characters were already married. There's two pairs of couples that are married. I could be completely getting that wrong. So, you know what, don't quote me, but I think that they're married. And then as the book progresses, Lucy gets a call that something happened back home, that she needs to come back home like right now. So she drops everything to go back. Cal, of course, makes this huge romantic gesture, and Lucy's like, listen, bro, I told you, it's only for the summer. And he is so upset because of course no one has ever made him feel this way. He's never felt love, he's never been attracted to anyone. So he's sitting there, left licking his wounds. And then, it's just his devoted love for Lucy in this novel is, he's definitely the main star in this book. Lucy is great, but seeing Cal and his like devoted love for Lucy really takes the stage. And what set this book above like halfway 2.5 for me, which if you've watched any of my other videos you would definitely know, is the epilogue. I am forever the hugest fan of epilogues. If you botch an epilogue, which it's only a chapter, then I will discredit your book. Like, you brought me, I read 300 plus pages to get to this epilogue. It better knock my socks off or be an even bigger progression of how good the book was. And this epilogue did not disappoint whatsoever. So that's what made me bump it up to 3 stars. Now, I've never really gone over this because I don't think it like justifies like a whole entire video, but all my books that I read start out at 2.5, the middle of the road, and then they go up and down based on how the story goes. So this one got bumped up to 3 stars and I enjoyed it, and I will definitely be continuing on with the series when the next book comes out, which I believe is in September. Okie dokie. So the second book I'm going to pick up, I think, I'm just looking through my list to see which one sounds interesting for me to pick up. Okay, so the second book that I am going to read, I believe I'm going to choose The Reckoning, which is the 3rd book in the Zodiac Academy series, which I didn't want to read the 3rd book so soon because this is my most anticipated book in this series, and I can't help it. Like, I just want to read it. So I'm going to pick up The Reckoning, and I am going to start reading that, and I will be back to update when I'm about halfway through, because I know there's going to be so much I'm going to want to like just blurb and get out of my brain. So I will be back to update soon. Okie dokie. So I just finished The Reckoning, which is the 3rd book in the Zodiac Academy series. And I have thoughts. So this was a 5-star read for me. I was so happy. This was my most anticipated book. But I must have either read wrong or I thought other things happened in book 3 that never ended up happening. So I don't know. So I'm not sure. So book 3 was my most anticipated, but now I'm not sure if it's going to be book 4. And the unfortunate thing is, I'm trying to follow the reading order, which is supposed to give you the most out of the Zodiac Academy world and series. So I have to stop here. I don't want to stop here, but I'm going to because I don't want to pick up book 4 and wonder like what the heck. And I really want to challenge myself to read the Ruthless Boys of Zodiac Academy series because that is like a reverse harem. And I have never read that. I really don't like it. I like equivalate that to like cheating, and I know it's not. So I feel by telling myself I need to read those 5 books in order to pick up book 4, it'll go better. And also, I posted on TikTok, and everyone who commented, besides a couple people, said that I should definitely read Ruthless Boys series first. It has a lot of information that you'll pick up in Zodiac Academy books 4 and after, and there's Easter eggs, and you really get a lay of the land and the characters. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, back to The Reckoning. So like I said, 5-star read for me, and it was 3 on my spicy scale. So this focuses on the mid-semester like exam in Zodiac Academy called The Reckoning, which basically you need to pass The Reckoning in order to be fully considered like a worthy fae and to continue on with Zodiac Academy. Now, the week leading up to The Reckoning is called Hell Week, and you have like trials in all the elements, and you need to pass those trials also, and at the end have a score that I believe is like 12 and above in order to be considered for The Reckoning. And for The Reckoning, I believe you need a score of 15, or maybe that's where you need a score of 12. At the end, you don't need to necessarily like pass and be number 1 on all these trials, but you need to have a certain total amount of points in order to pass the whole thing. So, and Hell Week is like a huge like hazing of all of the freshmen. Like the sophomores to seniors wear like black cloaks with hoods and stuff on them, and obviously the freshmen don't have them, so you can easily spot out the freshmen. And it's like, this book is so brutal. I'm so thankful like there's nothing, I mean, who knows? Maybe there is, obviously not like, the fantasy part, but maybe there are, fraternities and sororities. I guess they do hazing, but this just seems extremely over the top. Aside from cheating, a trope I despise is love triangle. I have yet to read one where it's done appropriately or good enough for me. And when I mean good enough for me, it just means that yes, there's a love triangle, but you know who 2 people are going to be together. Like, that there's a third party in here, but they're not giving the vibes. The main character who gets to kind of like pick isn't really giving as much to them as they are the other person. That I can handle. This, knowing what I know and how the series kind of evolves, I'm trying to figure out how this main love triangle gets sorted out. I mean, I'm starting to feel bad for the third person in the triangle who's going to be like left out, and I shouldn't, but I am. So I'm just hoping that I'm gonna read all these like reverse harem books where there's like 3, 4, 5 people all together, and then eventually love triangles aren't gonna like make me feel so uncomfortable inside. So here's to hoping. Xavier, Darius's little brother, is slowly becoming, not slowly, he's fastly becoming one of my favorite characters, and I cannot wait until he is in more of the books. I love Xavier and Tori's kind of like very quick relationship and interactions that they've had. I loved it so much, and I feel so bad for Xavier. I just can't wait to hear and see more of him. I thought we were going to get more of him in The Reckoning, but I was wrong. But I'm hoping that book 4, 5, 6, they have him somewhere like mixed in there. There is like constant whiplash between these characters. Like, they like you, they don't like you. They're trying to bury you, but then, oh, don't touch her. Like, I like her. We need to protect her. You're being too mean to her. But, we own the throne. You're never going to get the throne. And the only way to not get the throne is you are no longer alive. So it's like back and forth. Like, when are these characters just going to come to terms with they either like each other or they don't like each other? It is constant, like, back, forth, back, forth. I get, like, dizzy with all, like, do I believe this person? Do I not believe this person? And it's just, like, sometimes the way Tori talks is too much for me. She's so, like, dude bro. When she talks to the guy, she's like, oh, dude, hey, chill out, dude. Like, I don't like that. I know she's more of, like, a tougher female character. She loves, like, motorbikes and things like that, and that's great, but sometimes the language, it just seems so immature, and I know that's not who she is. That kind of bothers me. It's not like constant, but it's something that every time the word dude or bro comes out of her mouth, I just roll my eyes. The ending. This ending was so good. This was almost 600 pages. I read this in less than a day. My finger was cramping from clicking so hard to get to the next page. My kids were at swim meet and I made them stay, like, all their hair's all wet, they're changed, and I was like, I only have like 5 more pages. Get comfy on these bleachers because mom ain't leaving until this book is done. And they were good sports about it, but I physically could not just close the book and know, oh, I only have a couple more pages to read when I get home. There was absolutely no way. It was so action-packed. Like, there's so many pages in this book, but everything goes so smoothly and, like, seamlessly. You're never like, oh my God, this book, it's just like such lagging. It's the same thing. It's honestly like one thing after another, and you're just moving and grooving, and you're here, you're there, and then there's magic, and there's a battle, and oh, hey, I love you. It's the best. I love this series so much. I want to say ACOTAR is potentially my favorite series, but I've only read 2 of those books. I have to really get on it and finish the series so I can see if it's even going to contend to the 3 books that I've already read in Zodiac Academy. But these are definitely my first and second. ACOTAR and Zodiac Academy. I have never read anything like this or have been so immersed and intrigued by a storyline ever in my life. And the thought of having like 20 books in a series, well, multiple series like interconnected, doesn't even like intimidate me even more. I wish there was more books like coming out. I wish Zodiac Academy wasn't finished. I'm annoyed that it's finished. It's probably going to take me like 2 years to finish it, but I'm still annoyed. And I wish there was more. So what I'm going to plan on doing, it's not going to be in this video, but I want to read Dark Fae, which is the first book in Ruthless Boys of Zodiac Academy, which is the series I'm going to read before picking up book 4 in Zodiac Academy. So there's 5 books in the Ruthless Boys of Zodiac Academy, and each one of these books are like 500 pages. So it's not like quick novellas. This is going to take me a while to kind of get through. So that's my plan before I pick up another like Zodiac Academy 4. So after all that is said and done, the next book that I am going to be picking up from Kindle Unlimited Romance is Wildest Dreams by L.J. Shen. So this is the second book in the Forbidden Love series. The first book was Truly, Madly, Deeply, and I enjoyed that one. I rated that one 4 stars. So I'm interested to see what this is going to be. This book, Wildest Dreams, has a higher rating on Goodreads than the first book. So this one has a 4.34 rating with 4,804 ratings. It's 469 pages on the Kindle, and it just came out April 8th of this year. So I am going to pick this one up. And this is the rundown on what the book is about. He'll protect his best friend's baby sister from anything other than himself. Ryland Dillon Casablancas is a forbidden fruit, undeniably delicious, but one bite just might kill you. He's my best friend's baby sister, a single mom, and a royal pain in the ass. When little Miss Baggage moves downstairs to house sit her brother's Manhattan apartment, my potential business partner mistakes us as a couple. He wants a family guy. I want access to his billions. And Dylan, she needs a big, burly guy to scare off her loser ex. Pretending to be engaged to the feisty girl next door gets messy. When I take a bite of the illicit apple, what can I say? I'm an instant gratification kind of guy. We made a deal to walk out of each other's lives once my contract is signed. The only problem, she might take my heart with her when she leaves. Can't wait. So I am going to pick this one up next, and I will be back at some point in time to update. I ended up finishing Wildest Dreams by LJ Shen. I rated it 3.75 stars, and it was a 5 on my spicy scale. This book was spicy. So the spicy chapters in this book were 5, 22, 23, 24, 25, 28, 29, 31, 36, 51. This book did not disappoint with the spiciness, and it was taboo. Actually, I don't know if it's like taboo. It's not, I don't know. You're going to have to read it to make your own conclusions if it's taboo or not. So this follows Dylan and Rylan. Rylan is Dylan's brother's best friend. He's not a millionaire. He is like a reformed, retired gigolo. So he made all of his money by basically selling himself for dates, company, bedroom activities, and the apartment building that he lives in was purchased by a previous customer. So he lives in like the penthouse in like an apartment building that a bunch of millionaires live in, but he is slowly dwindling all of his money because he retired from doing that and he wants to launch his own app. But he has obviously a tarnished image of being a bad boy, a playboy, someone who has no feelings. You can't trust him. He just cares about himself. So trying to find investors to invest in this application has been extremely hard for him based on his reputation. Dylan is leaving her hometown. She feels that she is always in someone's shadow. Someone's always feeling the need to take care of her or help her. And she has a 3-year-old daughter, Gravity, and she wants to do this on her own. So when the opportunity came for Dylan to move to New York City to house watch her brother's New York City apartment, which happens to be one floor below Ryland, she takes up the opportunity to see if maybe she's not planning on moving to New York City, but she wants this to be like a fresh start, just her and Gravity. No one else is there to take care of her. The first day there, of course, trouble happens. She bumps into Ryland, and as they're talking, the biggest potential investor for Ryland's app sees them on the sidewalk. The investor is a huge cowboy. His name's Bruce. He's a family man, extremely traditional, and he knows Ryland's history. And he pretty much won't invest in his app unless he somehow can convince this guy that he has cleaned up his image. And what better way to show someone you cleaned up your image than by literally being involved with someone? So as Bruce comes walking down the sideway to meet Ryland for the meeting, he bumps into Ryland and Dylan together, and Ryland introduced Dylan as his fiance. So that's pretty much where it all goes. The banter sometimes was a little bit too much. They were kind of like a lot of back and forth, and it was just like, okay, I understand, but you guys need to move on from this. Not everything needs to be like a comeback or a letdown. I also enjoyed that you do get a really good peek into Cal and Rose like continuation of the story. They were in the first book, Truly Madly Deeply, and they're like heavily intertwined into the second book. And I'm thinking, which this hasn't really been like confirmed, but the first book was Truly Madly Deeply. That was a song by Savage Garden, I think. And this book is Wildest Dreams. That's a Taylor Swift song. And the third book is going to be called Handsome Devil. I don't think that that's a song name. Maybe it is. Let me know in the comments below if that is a song. But speaking of the third book, me with my like ADHD brain, I meant to say I wonder if all these books are going to be like based on song names, but then I realized Handsome Devil, it could be a song. I just don't know about it. Now that we're on the subject of book 3, I did look into it a little bit, and it's called Handsome Devil. It comes out August 12th, and it follows Tate. Tate is the male main character in book 3, but he's in book 2. He's in this book, Wildest Dreams, but he does not sound likable whatsoever. He seems that he's like kind of screwing over Rylan. I don't know. I'm very interested to hear his story. And like the blurb of it is that it's a dark, dark, dark romance. And Tate's character is hella dark in this book. Like he does not like anyone. He's not like outwardly mean, but he has no friends. He doesn't want any friends. He doesn't want people to rely on him. And he does not give out favors unless you are giving him something. And that's kind of, I don't really like that in a main character, but I'm sure his book is going to be even better. I love me a nice single parent book, and what I love about a single parent book is seeing how the third person integrates in with the child. And to see Rylan just slowly warm up to gravity, it was the sweetest thing to read about. It was honestly so perfect because Rylan is very much like, he's so crass and he jokes and he makes the funniest jokes. And it's just so funny to see him like interacting with a child. He seems like he has no idea what to do. And it's just so cute to see him, like, as the story goes on, be extremely invested in this child. Melts my mom heart. I enjoyed Ryland and Dylan's love story unfolding also. They're both from extremely flawed parental upbringings, and they just somehow cannot give themselves good faith that they can change or they can love, or the past isn't going to repeat itself. And you see the struggle that they go through throughout this whole book, and I literally like threw my fist in the air and was like screaming when they finally just realized we can do this. The epilogue was good. It wasn't like the best epilogue, but it was extremely satisfying. So I would say if you like reading about single mom, marriage of convenience, brother's best friend, lots of witty, fun back and forth banter, enemies to lovers, he falls first and he takes care of her, then definitely pick this book up. The next book I believe I'm going to pick up is From Air by Jewel E. Ann. And I have seen this book around social media quite a bit recently. I'll insert a book cover over here because I'm going to be reading this obviously on my Kindle. And this was published November 26th, 2024. And it has 328 pages on Kindle. And currently, when I'm filming this, it has a rating of 4.26 with 11.8K ratings. So this book seems like it's going to be exceptionally good. And it is the first book in the Wildfire series. The second book, From Nowhere, is also released. It came out on March 4th. So I can't wait to start reading this. I will read you a little bit of what the book description says from Goodreads. So it's basically following like a house full of firefighters, and Jamie is a psychiatric nurse. She somehow gets, I guess, dropped into the firehouse, but she fixates on Calvin, who is a grumpy smoke jumper, 10 years her senior. Ooh, so it's going to be an age gap. She makes playfully tormenting him her pet project, trying to get him to open up. It turns out he gives as good as he gets. When something smoldering between them sparks, they have to keep it quiet, which makes Jamie start to wonder about Calvin's secret, the one he won't explain. She'll learn more after life pulls them apart, but as she follows the truth like a trail of flame into the dark, will it lead her to hearth and home with Calvin, or will it all go up in a blaze? These are wildlife firefighters, and they're always, going into extremely dangerous situations. So I'm guessing they have a psychiatric nurse come in, maybe just to stay with them for a little bit or evaluate them to make sure that everyone's doing okay. Or something must have happened, and the psychiatric nurse is there to just help anyone to overcome grief if they lost a firefighter or something. It sounds good. I love age gap. I am a registered nurse. I love any book with nurse and any of like the civil servant jobs. So I love police, firefighters, EMTs, teachers. I love all of that. So a firefighter and a nurse. I can't wait to jump into this. So I will be back to update when I'm probably finished. I have my laundry going in the dryer, so you know what that means. It means I have some free time, and I'm going to be here to update From Air by Julie Ann. So I rated this book 3 stars, and it was 3 on my spicy scale. Now, it follows 2 characters, and there is a bunch of awesome side characters, but the 2 main characters are James or Jamie. She is a psych travel nurse, and there is Calvin or Fitz, who is a Missouri smoke jumper. So he's the people who jump out of planes to combat wildfires, high risk, high reward type of job. Definitely not a don't need to worry about my man when he's at work job. So this is an age gap. He's 25 and he is 35. Now, when you're reading this story, he does not seem like he's 35 years old. He seems a little bit more immature than that, and they seem like they're on the same level. Jamie doesn't seem any more mature than 25, but Fitz or Calvin does not seem like he's 35 years old. He's a grump. She is definitely sunshine. She loves to skateboard. She loves to read books. She loves to hang out with elderly people. She is just like a ball of sunshine, and he is such a recluse. Everyone knows he's a recluse. No one's trying to change him from being a recluse. Everyone's trying to warn Jamie that he's a recluse. But for whatever reason, she just wants to continue to try and get under his skin and reveal who he really is, because no one really wants to be a recluse, do they? They meet each other because Jamie ends up taking a travel nurse assignment in Missouri, and she rents it's not a room, she rents a shed in a house, and Calvin is one of the other roommates that live there. However, there is one major house rule that is in the contract that everyone signed, is you cannot hook up with another roommate. It is absolutely a non-negotiable. You both will forfeit your security deposit and be kicked out. So no hooking up with any of the 4 roommates. Well, there's 3 other roommates. In total, including Jamie and Calvin, there's 2 males and 2 females. They have this burning attraction to each other. They don't understand why. Calvin really has no idea why, because he's never felt this before. And they're trying to figure out how can they somehow smother this attraction and still survive. It's known pretty early in the story that Fitz has somewhat of a tragic past, making him a recluse. No one, I think, wakes up and from a perfect family and a perfect childhood and suddenly just doesn't want to be around people. So you very slowly get what makes Fitz himself. There are some hidden family secrets. There all throughout the book, between the main characters and some of the side characters, you have a feeling that they somehow know each other or they're like intertwined in some sort of way. So you're trying to also figure that out while reading the story and trying to understand the romance aspect of it. It just seemed like there was a lot in this book, and I mean, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but that's also okay. I did enjoy the ending. The epilogue wasn't, anything high up on my epilogue scale, but it was overall a good book, especially if you love people in like civil service. We have a nurse and like a firefighter. Definitely pick this up if you enjoy forced proximity, they live in the same house, a nurse firefighter relationship, age gap, grumpy sunshine, very much like family secrets, and two people learning to cope under less than perfect circumstances. The last book that I am going to be picking up for this vlog is Leave Me Behind by K.M. Moranova. Now, this cover that I'll put right here is what I thought the book was. I opened my Kindle and went on Goodreads, and this is the cover that it is. It is giving me very heavy, like Lee Rivers' The Edge of Darkness trilogy and Haunting Adeline, those covers. I know this is a dark military romance, but for some reason when I saw that first cover, I was like, oh, it doesn't look super dark. It doesn't look like the second cover. And then I saw the second cover and I'm like, here we go. This book's probably going to break me emotionally, but I've already committed to it and I'm just gonna have to suck it up. This book is 466 pages and it was published on November 6th, 2024. It has a Goodreads rating of 3.91 with 33,000 ratings. So I feel that that's pretty good. It is a standalone book, and this is what the description says. Nell Gallows is the sole survivor of an elite Dark Forces squad riot after a detrimental attack 2 years ago. Unsurprisingly, she's being put up as the top candidate for the Special Ops team, Malum, the squad that goes where no one else will or can. There's only one problem. Malum blames their one casualty from the Patagonia mission on the riot squad. So, what is she to do when she finds herself on a plane to California and on her way to a sure death sentence? A one night stand. That's all I'm going to read into it because I don't want to get too heavily into it. But basically, it's these two badass characters. First of all, a female in a special ops, like kicking ass and taking names. I am here for it. And there's also a guy who is similar playing field on special forces. They're both highly dangerous. I don't like in their job, they'll do what needs to get done. And I can't wait. But I know military gets me. It gets me every time. I can't even watch the videos of someone coming home from the military and surprising someone. I am a blubbering mess. So this book, I'm sure it's going to be so graphic and enough to shatter your heart. I just hope that it puts it back together by the end. So I will be back when I finish the book to give you an update, and I will go over all the books I read in this video with my ratings. Wish me luck. I am only 2 chapters in to Leave Me Behind, and I am already feeling myself get worked up. I've almost cried like 4 different times. I'm 2 chapters in. I have over 400 pages left. I don't know how I'm going. If I can read this book without shedding a tear, it is going to be a miracle. This book is going to be brutal. I already can tell. So wish me luck. I am here to update because I finished Leave Me Behind by K.M. Moranova. This book was 5 stars and 5 spice. This was my first dark military romance, and let me tell you, it did everything that I thought it was going to do. It follows Bradshaw, whose code name is Bones, and Nell, whose code name is Bunny. And basically, they have a chance encounter on a plane. This is going to be so confusing. Okay, so Bradshaw has a twin brother, Aaron, who is the sergeant of the Malum squad. Okay, follow me. I'm sometimes not good at explaining stories without spoilers. So they're twins. They were on a plane, and who else happens to be on that plane? Nell. Coincidental, okay? And then Nell and Aaron, the sergeant, which Nell, no one has no idea where they work, what they do. They just, meet each other. And Aaron asks Nell if they want to meet up at a club later on that day and get a couple drinks. Nell was on her way to California to deploy on this mission that she really isn't sure she's going to come back from. So she thinks, c'est la vie, let me go have one more fun night, and agrees to meet him for drinks. She shows up, it's like a club. And she doesn't realize that the twin brother Bradshaw is also coming. He's gloomy, angsty, doesn't talk, wears a hood over his head. So she really isn't paying attention to him. And she starts dancing on the floor while Aaron is getting drinks. And in Nell's mind, she is there to hook up with Aaron, not Bradshaw. One thing leads to another. Bradshaw and Nell end up having a one-night stand. At the end of their date, they kind of piece together because they're both saying that they're there for like work. And Bradshaw knows that there's going to be a Penelope that joins the Malum squad. And then he puts 2 and 2 together that her nickname's Nell. And then basically he dashes away. I can't believe that this just happened. This girl is going to be my number 2. Nell is supposed to be one of the deadliest, close combat and sniper. Not necessarily the toughest. She's definitely the deadliest female, but Bradshaw is the number 1. This guy, when he's in his squad, he wears a mask. He showers separately. No one on his squad has seen what he looks like because he's that much of a threat to everyone that his identity cannot be known. He just goes by Bones to these people. And no one on their squad knows that the sergeant and Bones are twin brothers because no one's seen Bradshaw's face. So no one knows what he looks like or that he could remotely be a twin. The story just gets wild from there. That is the setup because in the book description, it says that, a chance one night stand. That's how the one night stand comes to fruition. And then there's a lot of stuff going on. There is trigger warnings for sure. I do like my spicy chapters for most books, and in this one, I put trigger warning chapters. There's trigger warnings sprinkled throughout, and I didn't necessarily when they're in combat and gory things. I didn't do trigger warnings for that. But I did put trigger warnings for non-consensual things, kind of. And chapter 9 and chapter 15 Be wary of those chapters if you have trigger warnings that pertain to that. But otherwise, like, the book was very easy to fly through. I love the military. I know that they do something that I could never do. And I love my country so much, but I know, like, physically, mentally, I am not of sound body and mind to go out and fight. And I absolutely idolize the people that can. So I was very nervous reading a military romance because I didn't know if they were going to paint them in a bad picture, or I wasn't 100% sure, but I was so pleasantly surprised. I was almost teetering on ranking this 6 stars, but I didn't really like, kind of, the book goes through everything and then it has like a 3 years later, not in the epilogue, and that kind of turned me off a little bit. But then, like, from there on and the ending, that epilogue was amazing. I think the epilogue was like 5 years later. I cried, I laughed, I cringed. It was such an overall good book. And I didn't think I would say that in a dark military romance. It has so much found family, the friends loved and lost, healing, coping, especially being in the military and losing someone, and having feelings for another person whose sole purpose is to take a bullet for you. It's just, and all of these characters are very much so mentally and emotionally flawed. You have to be. The squad that they are on is the dark ops. So they're people who don't even have like a paper trail of like surviving. So if they pass away, it's just, they are just a blip in the radar. No one knows. All of these people usually have parents that have already passed away. They've done something horrific. So no one is waiting for these people to come home from, their missions. And it's so sad to know that most of these people had to undergo such traumatic things to be in this special ops. And it's really not like a victory to be on here. Like, you think of, the Navy SEALs or the Rangers, and you think, wow, what an honor and how amazing you must be to make those teams and squads. And this is like the complete opposite. You are so deadly, you are so untethered, you cannot like be in society. You need to be like hunting and, doing bad things to other people to like feel alive. This book gave such a new meaning to enemies to lovers, and the whole time you're reading it, you're rooting for Nell. She is on a team with such deranged men. There's 5 men and she's the only female, and the things she has to go through, like the hazing and the trigger warnings, but mostly just from Bradshaw. Like, he is a twisted individual. I just, but you love him. And I don't know what that says about me or all of these books that I love, like these dark romances. I think I enjoy them so much because it's nothing I would ever have in real life. Like, I would never get to experience this because I don't want to, but it is so nice experiencing it through a book that usually has a happy ending. Because I'm sure real life dark romances, more than not, they don't end happily ever after. So I think that's why I'm so intrigued by these type of books, because it's something I'm just never going to experience because I don't want to, but I get to experience it through books. And oh my god, just another reason why books are so amazing. I would definitely pick this book up. Like I said in the beginning of the book, they have a trigger warning list, and if you're sensitive to things like that, but overall this book was so good. I read it in less than a day. Like, I was tapping so hard on my Kindle. Like, I was flying through the book. It was so good, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're into dark romance or anything like dark military. It's slowly becoming my favorite. I've only read one book, so that's kind of like jumping the gun, but I haven't had a 5-star read like this in a while. I'm gonna recap all of the 5 books that I read with their star rating and their spice rating. The first book I read in this video, In Good Company, I rated 3 stars and it was 4 spice. I then read The Reckoning, which is the 3rd book in the Zodiac Academy series. I rated that 5 stars with 3 spice. Wildest Dreams by L.J. Shen, I rated 3.75 stars with 5 spice. From Air by Jewel E. Ann, I rated 3 stars and 3 spice. And the last book I read, Leave Me Behind, I rated 5 stars with 5 spice. That is everything that I have for you for this video. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch me gab about books, and I look forward to talking to you in my next video. Bye.